The man that we gather to hear from today is a special advisor on budgets to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. He was the governor, executive governor of Kwara State, two-term governor for 8 years, the chairman, Nigerian Governors Forum for 4 years, senator, Kwara Central Senatorial District for 4 years.
You don't come.
The president of the Nigerian Senate.
You don't come.
He is the waziri of Abubakar Saraki. He is a husband. He is a father. He is a mentor. He is a doctor. Let me rise to our feet and welcome Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, my dear wife, your distinguished delegates, invited guests, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, eminent citizens, highly respected leaders and operators of the fourth estate of the rep, my friends and colleagues, dear compatriots, let me start by thanking all of you for finding time to be with us this morning. It is no longer news that I am in the race for the PDP's ticket to contest for the office of the president. But I decided to convey in this session to let you know why am I in this race. For all that we've experienced in the last couple of years, the 2023 presidential election looms large as another watershed moment in our political history. We must all acknowledge that some things have happened in the country that in the last couple of years that no one could have imagined would have been possible less than a decade ago. 2023, therefore, presents us with a great moment of decision. The moment to choose hope over hopelessness. The moment to choose peace and security over fear and terror. The moment to choose unity and inclusion over division and exclusion. The moment that we draw a bold line in the sands of the history and say, no more. We must, as one people, as one nation, work towards our God-assigned destiny as the greatest black nation on the face of the earth. We all have reasons to be worried about the future of this country, but this is not the time to surrender and wallow in despair. Rather, this is the moment when all patriots, all citizens of goodwill must show courage, rise above those lines of division that have kept us apart. The very important question we must ask, where do we go from here? I do not have a grass to great story to tell. Some may even consider me privileged, but I never take my privileges for granted. I learned as a young boy that to do much is given, that even the privileges, and when in 1999, I joined as Special Assistant to President Olusegun Obasanjo, I became even more acutely aware of the limitless responsibilities for service to government and of how political power in the hands of a committed, courageous leadership can solve real problems and uplift the destiny of a nation and our people. It was this same realization that motivated me to contest and win election as governor of Kwara State in 2003. Even back then, many did not give me a chance to succeed. They thought I was too young and too much of political unified to make an impact. He's a private sector. He's privileged. How will you understand the poor people in the state? How will you understand what they want? Yielding commitment to make a difference. perhaps more important, best brains around. I took time to study situations, decide on what to do, agree on the best implementation strategies, and never muddle through. On every occasion, I have had to break through the walls of doubts and cynicism from those who thought it could not be done. I have had to break through the walls of doubts and cynicism. Those who thought that the odds were too stacked against us, we couldn't stand a chance. But each time, we were able to prove them wrong because we had the courage of conviction and we had God on our side. The stake has never been higher for our country. This is the moment we must put everything we have to save this nation. Because what we have today is not our country. This is certainly not the country of the dreams of our founding fathers and those that came after them. In our lifetime, we have seen a Nigeria where everyone, rich or poor, was guaranteed education just by merely attending a school. In our lifetime, we have witnessed a Nigeria where children will wander far away from home as long as they wanted, and they were sure to return in the evening. In our lifetime, we have witnessed in Nigeria where one could drive from Lagos in the night and arrive Maiduguri in the morning without fear or misfortune. In our lifetime, we have witnessed in Nigeria where a Fulani man will arrive Enugu as a cattle trader and end up being elected as mayor of the city. In our lifetime, we have witnessed in Nigeria where everyone was guaranteed a minimum standard of living, where the middle class thrived, where jobs were available, and where Nigeria was the pride of every black man anywhere in the world. Where, as this, are Nigerians I am running. I am aware many of you now are asking, what am I going to do differently? What am I going to say which I have not been said before? I know that even those of you listening are probably saying to yourself right now, you're saying, haven't we heard all this before? You're saying to yourself, haven't we heard all this before? Yes. You might have heard all this before. You have the right to be skeptical. Yes, you have the right to be very skeptical. But here's what will make the difference. I will do what I've always done. I will arrive in the office with a well thought out plan of my own. I will implement my plans with courage and conviction, and I will work every single day as it will be my last. We never lacked ideas in this country. We all seem to know what needs to be done. But what we have missed is leadership. We never lacked ideas in this country. The ability to rally everyone and everything around agreed priorities, to set measurable targets, to be uncompromising in achieving results, and not to accept no excuse for justification of failure. This critical vacuum is what I intend to fill. The leadership with a purpose is what I bring to the table. This is what will make the difference in our country. You may also ask, how long will it take to solve all these problems? I agree. These problems we face are so many, so daunting, that we might not see. It's not whether we were able to solve all the problems, or whether I possess the magic wand to turn our country overnight into a paradise. That's it all. We can be the generation, the turning point generation, in whose time everything begins to change. The generation that, despite our differences, were able to unite against poverty and hunger, because poverty and hunger spare no tribe or religion. We can be the generation that is ashamed to be labeled as a poverty capital of the world. And therefore, we commit ourselves to do what it takes to remove this badge of dishonor on our country. We can be the generation that is collectively embarrassed to admit that we have more children out of school than any other country in the world. And therefore, we resolve to ensuring that every Nigerian child, regardless of the circumstance of his parents, is guaranteed quality basic education. We can be the generation that commits to building a country on the principle of equal opportunity to all. A generation that gives equal chance to everyone, that is deliberate about policies that promote inclusion of women and youth, as well as people with disabilities, believing that we are only as strong as the weakest amongst us. We can be that generation that is determined to make ours the last generation in whose time people aspiring for public office will be judged based on the content of their character and their capacity, not from what part of the country they come from, what language they speak, or what God they worship. Let us be that last generation that will ask, where do you come from? But rather, what can you do? Indeed, we can be that generation that says, enough talk, enough lamentation, enough blaming each other. This is the time for action. This is the time to fix our Nigeria, to make Nigeria work for all Nigerians. I acknowledge the great efforts of our past leaders over the years. I pay great respect to them all. I thank them for their service to this great nation. However, as long as there is a child in Nigeria that cannot read or write, then the job is not done. And it is for this one child that I will run for president, because I will ensure that the law on compulsory basic education is enforced and the quality of teaching improves in all public schools. As long as there's one old woman in this country who cannot afford her prescription drugs for diabetes or malaria because she has no insurance coverage, the job is not done. And it's for this woman that I will ensure people like her are covered and they are able to buy their own drugs and get insurance cover. We will ensure that in 2 years, we will take insurance coverage in our country from the current 7% to 50% health insurance coverage. As long as a single village or forest in this country is controlled by terrorists or bandits or any group of criminal groups, as long as any citizen is living in fear, as long as our soldiers, our security agents do not get the right training, right equipment, right incentives, the job is not done. And it is for these citizens that I want to be president, because I will do everything to protect the lives and properties of every Nigerian and everyone that lives within our country. I will ensure that all men and women in uniform are well trained, well equipped, and well paid. As long as crude oil revenue remains the mainstay of our economy, and we remain vulnerable to the volatility of the international oil market, the job is not done. And this is why I want to be president, because I will raise the revenue from non-oil revenue to such at the same level as we're earning from oil today. As long as there are still people in this country who believe they can break the laws of Nigeria with impunity, who think that crime has no consequences, then the job is not done. And this is why I want to be president, because I will ensure strict compliance of the rule of law and guarantee consequence for crime. As long as we still import tilers, plumbers, and electricians from neighboring countries, then the job is not done. None of our youth in technical and vocational skills each year. As long as 65 million of our citizens still live in slum conditions in our cities and urban centers, then the job is not done. And this is why I want to be president of urban slums. As long as Nigeria is not the tech hub for Africa, despite our incredible talents in this area, then our job is not done. And this is why I want to be president, because I will invest as long as a huge president, because I will create the Nigeria position in the area of cultural production economy. As long as our university lecturers still have reasons to embark on strike actions, as long as our universities still rank outside the top 1,000 in the world, the job is not done. And this is why I want to be president. I will ensure our universities and higher education institutions are competitive, well-funded, adopting models and approaches that will serve the most successful higher education systems in the world. As long as some of our best and brightest brains still relocate to other countries to find fulfillment, then our job is not done. And this is why I want to be president, because I will develop targeted incentives to reverse the brain drain and keep our professionals in this country. I can do it. My portfolio of experience at the executive level and at the highest legislative institution of our country makes me a unique asset in democratic leadership. Particularly at this time that calls for consensus building, cooperation, and for compromise. I know how business works. This diverse experience stands me out, and I'll bring the experience to bear in getting the most critical constituencies behind tough decisions that will make Nigeria survive. I will be president for all because I represent a Nigerian identity that is truly diverse. I will be the Nigerian that will be a bridge between the young and the old. I'll be the bridge between the private sector and the public sector. I'll be the bridge between Muslims and Christians. I'll be the bridge between the North and the South. Distinguished guests, distinguished delegates, join hands with me. Nigerians at large who are watching, let's all join hands with me. Let's work and let's go and fix Nigeria. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Let's put our hands together. Let's rise to our feet and honor the man who has brought us here today. Dare I say, the incoming